Hey guys, Brett Weiss here. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you guys are healthy and doing well. Gonna talk about video game pet peeves today. Just sort of things that, my 5 video game pet peeves, or 5 of my video game pet peeves. Just things about video games or the video game culture in general that annoy you. One obvious one is in-game purchases. Everybody talks about that one, just how annoying it is to you're playing a game, you don't get the full game, you pay your 30, 50, or 60 bucks or whatever, or even $10, and you don't get the full game. You have all these little micro transactions. So that's an obvious one everybody talks about. That's not one of my 5 I'm gonna list. That's just sort of an example for you guys. So these are 5 really annoying things to me about video games, 5 of my pet peeves with gaming. So let's get to the list. Number 5, people who call the NES, the Ness, or the Super Nintendo, the SNES. Now, I get why they do it. It's just a quick, convenient way to say it. Fewer syllables. The NES is quicker to say than the NES, but it's wrong. It's not the NES, it's the NES, or the Nintendo Entertainment System. The SNES, it's not the SNES. That's not what it is. It's the Super Nintendo, or it's the Super Nintendo Entertainment System. But like I said, it is quicker and convenient, but for some reason, it just gets on my nerves. Ness and SNES, bugs me. So, and usually it's with it seems to be with younger gamers that say that, but there are some older gamers that, I respect that use this words as well, colloquialisms, if you will. Don't like them. Ness and SNES. Let's rid that from those words from the English language. Now, number 4 on my list is any password system that doesn't consist of numbers and or letters. Instead, some games have, symbols that you have to write down, or even characters, little creatures or whatever that you have to draw. A couple of games that remind me of this, Booger Man, you have to draw, characters. Castlevania, you have to draw these symbols, and that's really annoying. Castlevania for the NES, not the NES. Anyway, so that's annoying. This was especially annoying before cell phone cameras, when you had to write down all these arcane symbols or draw these creatures or whatever, instead of just, writing letters or numbers. Nowadays, with cell phone cameras, I'll just take a picture of the screen when it comes to the password screen. I'll just take a picture of it. That's really convenient. But before you could do that, it was really annoying to have to do all right. Now, I love playing Nintendo, love the NES, again, not the NES. But when it's game over time, there's a password, I want to save my progress, by writing down the password. That's really annoying when it just comes up a bunch of, letters and numbers are just easier. And when you come back to it, it's easier to tell what you've written down. Anyway, that's just kind of one of my pet peeves. That's number 4. Number 3. So the other day I was playing Karnov for the NES. A lot of NES stuff here. Karnov for the NES, great game, platform shooter. Just an excellent game. Lots of shooting, some cool enemies and good weapons and stuff that you can choose from. Really cool game. But when it's game over, now it does have unlimited continues, which I really appreciate. I think almost all NES games should have unlimited continues. There are so many difficult NES games. Why not just have unlimited continues on all of them? Anyway, I do like that it does have unlimited continues, but when you get to the game over screen, it gives you the choice between game over and continue. For some reason, it defaults to game over. So if you finish your game and you're in a hurry, or you've never played it before and you're just impulsively pushing the buttons when your game is over, you might accidentally hit game over instead of continue, and that'll send you, all the way back to the, the title screen, when maybe you wanted to continue on, like I found out, when I was playing Karnov, I was on level 5, and I got to the end, and I impulsively hit start. Sometimes that's my fault. I did it, push the button too quickly, but it should default to continue, because if you press continue and you don't really want to continue, no harm, no foul, you just turn the game off. But if you hit game over when you were really wanting to continue, you lose all your progress. So it should default to continue. I don't know why, that's just a bad choice. One of my pet peeves, again, partly my fault for being impulsive, pushing the button too quickly or whatever, but that is a pet peeve of mine, when they could have just easily had it as, default to continue. And speaking real quickly, the password thing, just to back up just a little bit, really long passwords are annoying as well. There's some infamous NES titles that might have 30 characters or whatever for passwords. Anyway, just wanted to put that one in there as well. That's a subset of number 4. So anyway, let's get to number 2. When people say there are too many video game books, so for years and years, for decades, there were very few video game books being published. Within the last 10 to 15 years, especially in the last couple of years, there have been a lot of video game books published relative to what came before. But relative to entertainment as a whole, video game book publishing is just microscopic compared to film, compared to sports, compared to music. With music and movies and stuff, there are countless biographies, reference guides, history books, and all that kind of stuff. Yet I still hear people saying, oh, there's too many video game books. Nothing could be further from the truth. Now, I want to point out, this kind of sounds like a self-serving number since I write books, but it really doesn't. If there were fewer video game books being published, just by default, my books would sell more. Even so, I'm for more video game books being published. And I want to show you some quick examples of ones I like that would not have gotten published if people stuck to the notion of there are too many video game books being published. What I like better about books than what you can find online, there's so much stuff online, so much of it written by non-professional writers that you really have to slog through a lot of stuff. Now, there's some excellent websites like Hardcore Gaming 101 and a few others I refer to a lot. News sites like Kotaku, a lot of good information on the web, but books are just something special. And with books, you can really dig into a topic a lot deeper. For example, The History of Companies, Playing at the Next Level by my buddy Ken Horowitz. You're just not going to get this kind of depth and history of a particular aspect of Sega online. Just not going to find it. Antoine Clark-Renaud and Jean-Francois Dupuis. Sorry, didn't know how to pronounce that one. Coleco, the official book. I love the ColecoVision, and it's awesome that they made an entire book, a history book on Coleco. And it shouldn't stop there. There should be histories of Konami, Universal, Exidy, so many great. I know Warren Davis just released a book about Qbert. Now there should be more full books on some of the classic arcade games like Defender and Tempest and Phoenix. There are so many possibilities for video game books. You can find interviews with publishers and developers online, particular programmers, but something like the Minds Behind the Game series by Patrick Hickey, you've got more than just interviews. You've got complete chapters on, giving a lot more context, a lot more depth than what you usually find online. Phoenix 4 by Leonard Herman, the entire history of video games, not going to find that online. Anyway, I don't think there are too many video game books, and it makes me crazy when people say that. All right, so that's my number 2 pet peeve, is people that say there are too many video game books because there's just a tiny amount compared to, other types of entertainment. Number 1, this is my number 1 pet peeve, at least for now, about video games. When people call Super Mario Brothers, Mario Brothers. Now, because there are 2 distinct games. The original Mario Brothers by Nintendo is a non-scrolling platformer. I love it. It's a great game. You play two-player co-op, but you can also compete against each other. Just, not fixed screen game, you might call it. Excellent game, arcade classic from Nintendo. It came out in 83, I believe, 82, 83. I think the arcade version was 82. Anyway, just an excellent, excellent game. I love Mario Brothers, and it makes me insane when people call Super Mario Brothers Mario Brothers. And anytime anybody says, referring to Mario Brothers, it seems like at least half the time, probably more, they're actually talking about Super Mario Brothers. So that makes me crazy. A subset of number 1 is when people call it Mario Bros, Super Mario Bros. And I believe Mario Brothers is 83, now that I think of it. The arcade version, and then there were later an excellent port for the NES. Anyway, so yeah, Mario Bros, Super Mario Bros, just crazy. It's B-R-O-S period, that is brothers. That stands short for that's short for brothers, and bros just kind of sounds moronic. All right, thank you guys. So in the comments, what are some of your video game pet peeves, whether it's individual games themselves or just something about the industry or the culture of the industry? Put in the comments below what are your video game pet peeves? All right, guys, thank you for liking this episode. Thank you for subscribing to the channel. I really appreciate it. Just below this video and to the right, just click on that subscribe button. That is super helpful. All right, guys, thank you for watching. I'll talk to you guys later. Peace out.